And hello and welcome to Media Musings. Looks like we've got a few familiar faces in the chat as well as a few new faces. So we've got Amiga Nuts, Linda, the Lone Wanderer, Critical Cripple, but he's not really here.
He's lurking.
Yeah,
Scummer's there. Hi, Scummer.
yeah, and yeah, Scummer. And let's see. Well, yeah. So D&D is on Saturday. This is Media Musings, where we usually take a piece of media or a franchise and discuss the themes and such explored. Sometimes, such as next week, we just take a bigger concept and discuss how it's portrayed and explored in various forms of media. But yeah, as far as I know, I'm the only one in the atheist/secular community who's doing a D&D stream. But anyways, and of course, I forgot to put the banner up during the intro, but today we are finishing our discussion on the Princess Bride, which we had started, the week before
Three
last.
weeks ago? Was it the week before last, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the week before last. The reason we didn't just make it a two-parter is because my channel anniversary was already pushed a week back because I'm a moron and I forgot when my first video was actually published. So quick recap. So last episode we basically got up through the fire swamp and discussed how Wesley's duels against Inigo, Fezig, and Vicini both closely mirrored, but ultimately subverted the classic fairy tale trope of the three trials.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically how Princess Bride is largely is a satire of, classic fairy tale / folk tales, but it's more of a gentle, subtle satire than usual. And also the main, at least in regards to the meta plot with, Peter Falk reading the story to his grandson, is more about how we make and pass on stories.
Do you like the side trope? And you probably discussed it last time because I missed the first one.
Yeah.
Do you like the side trope that they did for Deadpool, where they did the Deadpool Christmas special, and they got Fred Savage back and put him in a bed?
I actually haven't seen Once Upon a Deadpool.
Oh.
I
just like the fact that they took that and
yeah. Basically, if I remember right, it's like a PG-13 version of Deadpool 2 with those
it is
scenes thrown in for extra humor.
Yeah, basically where something would have happened, Fred Savage interrupts and Deadpool does the whole sorry, but you don't see the really bad stuff because they've clocked it down a bit. And so instead you get these comic bits interspersed where he's talking to Fred Savage in the bed, and he won't let Fred leave. He's actually handcuffed him to the bed, so
yeah. Probably should have worn one of my Deadpool shirts instead of my Iron Giant shirt.
Have Hang on, is the Iron Giant holding the TARDIS?
Yes.
That is brilliant. That is so meta.
I mean,
Yeah.
no comment.
Yeah, we all know. I know how you feel about the Iron Giant. So
I've seen worse films, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
when I eventually when I eventually talk about the Iron Giant, I won't ask you to be on.
Yes, please.
Well, you could. You could.
No,
we
you know how
all the
Badger
negative
responds-
aspects.
No, do you know how Badger responds when you mention the
Disney
Great Menace? Yeah.
Yeah.
or midi-chlorians.
No contest.
Yeah.
For me, Iron Giant is as bad a film as Catcher in the Rye is as bad a book. And they've both got the same damn protagonist.
But anyways, we're not here to talk about the Iron Giant.
See, that's why you should be there, though, Hissy, because we don't always have to be positive about the media stuff we talk about.
Yes,
I mean,
but
we weren't completely positive about Harry Potter.
no, we were positive about Harry Potter. We weren't positive about its origins.
Or its author's concept of what it was.
Yeah. For those of you who are newly watching, Miss Rowling is something of a punching bag when it comes to this channel.
Tiny bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Well, listen, when you've got someone and they're that full of shit and wrapped in fur, you've got to use them as a punching bag. There's no other use.
Although I'd rather take the fur off them first and then punch them.
The fur's
So
already
it might
dead.
add it a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, we should stop talking about that because about
we're not talking about the Iron Giant today. We're finishing
not the
our
Iron
discussion.
Giant. I mean, we should stop talking about hitting people.
No. When I say that, I do mean with sarcasm and like verbal jabs, not physically. Don't go hitting people.
Right. Not violence. We're not violent here.
Oh,
we don't do violence here.
See, I will hit J.K. Rowling in Smash Bros.
That'll do. Do you know who does do
that
violence?
Would be awesome. Could we have a J.K. Rowling character in Super Smash Bros. So we could... That's just looking character, it's just one there that the other characters can pick up and throw at the others, and then they can do things to it. That would be bloody awesome.
I feel like I'm waving a wand. What's this? What am I doing?
Da, 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 da.
We don't do violence, but do you know who does?
Hey.
Prince Humperdinck. Go.
Yes. Rather, because we did kind of skip this over, Count Rugen.
Yeah, Count Rugen.
Yes, Count
Played
Rugen.
by Christopher Guest.
Also known as the, six-fingered man.
The man with 6 fingers.
Yeah. Who is very much once again like in the pattern of the Princess Bride, he very much plays to a trope, but is also in itself a slight subversion of said trope, because he is the cruel, sadistic bastard of like an inquisitioner or torturer. But he is very soft-spoken and almost like gentle about it. Now, please describe how you felt. This is for science.
He's very creepy.
Yeah. I just sucked a year of your life away. Tell me, how did it feel? in my opinion, it probably felt a lot like how 2020 feels right now.
Oh, well done, well played.
Well played. I just looked out a year of your life. How does it feel? I don't know. Ask me on the 31st of December.
Yeah. Wake me up when December ends.
Oh! Ring is on fire.
Ring is on fire.
So,
you need a graphic for that.
Yeah.
So we've got the extra digit stroke going on with Rugen.
And of course, the trope of, well, and of course, the end of this portion of the movie is kind of the trope of everyone getting together in a way, because it is kind of convenient that the source, the ultimate goal of Inigo Montoya's quest is in the servants of Prince Humperdinck.
Yeah, brings it all together nicely.
Yeah.
It's one of those coincidences of storytelling that just works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deus Ex coincidence?
Yeah.
Or
whatever coincidence is in Latin.
Or rather instead of a Deus Ex Machina, perhaps a Diabolus Ex Machina.
What do you mean, Machina?
Yeah, Diabolus Ex Machina.
Hand of the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any more exploration of the themes in the Pit of Despair we want to get into?
I mean, not really. I do like the idea that the comment from Wesley right at the end of, now was that so terrible? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rats. Big rats.
But
the roost.
Yeah. Well, and of course, Prince Humperdinck being slighted, just immediately, turns it up to 11, and mostly.
I think it's almost like this whole with the ruse. It's and then the next shot you see is Humperdinck after Wesley asked, "Now was that so terrible?" As if the universe is taking that as a challenge. Well, no, because he's here.
Well, yeah, okay. Oh, you're going back to the fire swamp. I'm talking about the Pit of Despair.
Yeah.
Oh.
Though,
yeah,
I will say this. I haven't read the book, but I do, quote unquote, know this because the internet is a thing. Apparently, in the book, that The Princess Bride is based on.
The Princess Bride.
Yeah. The movie is the book the movie is based on. It isn't the Pit of Despair, it's the Zoo of Death.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
apparently because Humperdinck, is such a sportsman, he keeps this zoo of death with a bunch of dangerous animals and stuff. So instead of going in and dragging Wesley out, Inigo and Fezzik fight their way into the zoo of death, defeating all these monsters and rhyming the entire way.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. That probably wouldn't have worked as well on screen, which is probably why they changed it.
Oh yeah, especially with the 1980s effects budget.
What budget?
Yeah. I mean, it was really a B grade style movie that they made.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there was no effects budget for it, really.
Yeah.
There was great costuming, and the script was brilliant. But it was a zero budget aside from that.
Well, and yeah, it seems like they knew that, or it seems like the director knew that most of the charm of this movie would come out from the chemistry of the actors and the script.
Yeah.
So probably they focused more of their attention on that, and in my opinion, that was a good call.
Mm.
Did you realize that for Fezzik, played by Andre the Giant, obviously, that he was the original choice for the role when they were originally putting the script together, but he was not available because of stuff with WWE. So they actually asked Arnold Schwarzenegger to play the role.
Oh God!
And he originally said yes to it, but by the time they'd got the finance together and they got the script all completed and everything, it was 4 or 5 years later, and Arnie had gone from being this little unknown to this big star.
Yeah.
And they couldn't afford him. And at that point, the WWE came back to them and said, we've had a couple of cancellations with some shows that are on in Japan. Andre is available.
Nice.
So the timing of it just worked out perfectly that Andre ended up being the
I shudder to think of like early Arnold Schwarzenegger in that role.
Oh.
And he doesn't suit the role anyway. Fezzik is not just a big man; he is meant to be a giant.
Yeah,
an absolute giant, and Andre was totally that role.
And as I mentioned before in the last episode when we covered the duel between Wesley and Fezzik, or Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Typically that trial strength is usually a battle between a mindless like ogre, who doesn't really care about who just wants to smash and destroy, but Fezzik subverts that trope by very much being the gentle,
intellectual,
and more wanting to be sportsman-like.
I love the contract where Vizzini thinks that he is the most intelligent of them all, but the other two are way smarter in general than they have.
It seems that Vizzini has more book smarts, and
but he's not world wise at all. He has no idea.
Fezzik and Inigo have more worldly experience.
Oh, definitely. But I won't take you back to that one because we've gone for that. And apparently Jeff talked about most of what I said last one.
Well, so, no, you did cover some new ground. So, but anyways, so Wesley is rescued from the pit of despair and brought to Miracle Max.
I love that.
He's not dead. He's just mostly dead.
Yeah. Where we have once again another fairy tale fantasy trope where he's the old hedge wizard, or the old medicine man. And of course in this in most folk stories that have this stock character, he usually assists because of the just quest, and he does say that he will waive his fee if the cost is if the cause is just. But unfortunately for him, true love is not the just cause. Getting over on Humperdinck is.
Yeah,
it's like you've set him. The subversion comes when he is when you see that Miracle Max is as out as in for it for himself as just about anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not he's not the lovable hedge wizard who's who wants to help people. He's the rogue of a hedge wizard.
Yeah, no, he's the crotchety old man who yells at you to get off his lawn. He's that bloke, you know.
Now he really said to bluff. Obviously, you were playing cards. He lost, and now you want your money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
comment from him though. Don't rush me, Sonny. You rush miracles, you get rotten miracles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, here's another question: is have either of you had a mutton, lettuce, and tomato where the mutton is nice and lean?
Dear.
Yeah.
I just love the whole thing of that scene just plays out so well.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things that makes The Princess Bride not the perfect movie, but a perfect movie.
Can we talk about the wife?
Oh yes.
Liar!
Now, and if I remember,
she's the nicer character.
Now, that's a nice trope because she's still the hen-pecking wife, but she's the nicer of the two.
Yeah,
she's the nicer of the two.
Like she's a hen-pecking shrew, but she is the conscience of the pair.
Yeah,
and it also seems that while Miracle Max is something more of an alchemist / hedge wizard, seems like she actually does have some amount of supernatural power because
in the script she's actually listed as an ancient fury.
But
cool.
Because she does, or another character portrayed by the same actress in the exact same makeup, which stretches the idea of coincidence, appears in Buttercup's dream, calling her filth because she is marrying another while her true love still lives.
Yeah. Which kind of goes with the whole Fury thing, because obviously the Furies are they're a classical illusion. And, are they goddesses, technically? They're definitely not human, and they're definitely, on that level of... I mean, even Zeus answers to the Furies and the Fates. So... don't mess with them.
Yeah. So since we do have a classicist in, do you care to elaborate more on this classical illusion?
Which one?
About of her being the ancient fury.
Well, so in ancient Greece, you've got your three goddesses of the realm of the dead, the Furies. I'm not going to try and pronounce the Greek name. Don't at me. I don't speak Greek. Goddesses of vengeance, who were sent out to bring justice to people who committed crimes. So actually, her coming at Buttercup as Buttercup's about to marry a different man is bang on.
Yeah.
It's just really bang on. You've got I'm going to try and pronounce the names. It's Electo, Aresta, and Maynard, I want to pronounce it as. And she's exactly what you would expect. Maybe a little bit old, but it's a comedy, so you can see why they would show how ancient she is with the way she looks.
Yeah, and
they are described as looking like hags in the original Greek texts, although there's more snakes in their hair than in Princess Bride.
And of course, in a way, haranguing Miracle Max into actually making the resurrection pill is a way to punish Prince Humperdinck for his crimes of attempted killing a family. In that he is going to marry Buttercup and then assassinate her to spark his war.
I mean, what's interesting with, again, just going back to the wife, in the Iliad, the Furies appear, and their entire goal is to make sure things follow the laws of nature. And yet, in Princess Bride, she's there yelling at a guy to bring someone back to life.
Well, to be fair, he's not totally dead. He's just mostly dead.
Mostly dead.
Yeah.
I like it when she first appeared and he goes, "Get back, witch."
Yeah.
She goes, "I'm not a witch, I'm your wife."
Yeah.
And Amiga Nuts alluded to line about have fun storming the castle.
Yes.
And Valerie goes, "You think it'll work?" He goes, "It would take a miracle."
Yes.
It's like absolutely no confidence in his own abilities.
Yeah.
And the
Except
whole bit
for the
about
fact that
going
he is
swimming for a
miracle
couple of
Max.
hours.
Yeah. And
don't go swimming for a few hours.
Yeah. Why?
And so, before we move on to storming the castle, of course, we have to talk about how marriage is what brings us together today. And love
Having flashbacks to our wedding husband.
To be fair, it was the reception, not the actual wedding.
That would have been one of the last movies that Peter Cook was in, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Oh, Scummer.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now, the metaphysical question here, it would be, are rock lobsters atheists? I was trying for a Jordan Peterson. I probably botched it completely.
That was more like your Ken Ham.
Or,
it was.
Yeah, my Hovind. Yeah.
Hovind.
Yeah, because they're like from what I've heard, like, impressions wise, they're very similar. So I don't think I can do Peterson. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, flashbacks.
Flashbacks, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what Hissy is alluding to is for my groom speech, I started off with that in the voice.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh, if he'd done that before you'd said your vows, would you have said them?
That's a very good question that I'm not entirely sure I know the answer to. I knew he was going to do something. I didn't realize he was going to do the voice as well. Because at one point he wanted to use that in the actual reception. I was like, no.
You wanted to find a priest who was it a priest? No, it wouldn't have been a priest. You wanted to find You wanted to find a registrar who would do that.
Our registrar was female, so that would have just been odd.
Yeah. I will guarantee you somebody has done that. Found a Peter Cook lookalike who is a registrar, or got them to become a registrar so they could marry them and do that.
But
I mean, why not just hire Peter Cook at that point?
Because he's dead.
Just get
mostly dead.
just give me a spade, the right book, and some a spade, the right
Chocolate
book, and some spell components.
Yeah, maybe a bellows.
Why is it chocolate coated? Helps it go down easier.
Yeah. But of course, once again, you're having the very, it's shot, just like a marriage scene. Everything is all seems solemn, and then the bishop opens his mouth and he has that, speech impediment, which is the subversive element in what would otherwise be, a stock standard, like the princess is about to marry the wrong dream, the wrong groom.
It totally breaks
scene.
the trope.
And another thing that doesn't break the trope, though I think this is less a fairy tale trope and more a just kind of movies of the era trope, is Wesley doesn't doesn't run in to to voice his objection right after if any
right
after the speak now or forever hold your peace. Though actually it seems to me, if I remember right, they skipped over that part a lot, as well as a lot of that.
Oh well, that's what he did. That's what he made the thing skip over all of that. So she never, because it's part of the storyline that she actually never says "I do."
Yeah.
He says it for her, but she never says it.
Yeah, because he is a slowly speaking old patriarch, bishop, cardinal, what have you,
with a speech impediment. So he rushes him.
Yeah, because because he wants to get his sword in her.
Yes.
And yes, I phrased it that way specifically.
Yes, I'm aware you did.
But yeah, it was.
You are so damn lucky we're already married. I say this, but he knows I don't mean it.
Yes, I know you love me.
Pushing it.
And then so after the wedding, where are we? We're at to
we are about to storm the castle.
We are about to storm the castle.
Yeah. So we have Inigo's skill, Wesley's brains, and Fezzig's strength. Now, if only we had a Holocaust cloak.
Pretty much.
And honestly, I'm not sure if this is specific trope. If this is a specific trope setup or subversion. I'm just gonna say something like this is what any D&D party would try and pull.
Yeah, this is a definite D&D like.
Oh yeah.
The Dread Pirate Roberts is come to steal your souls. Roll bluff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though we do have a bit of the subversion, a bit of a trope subversion for this scene, or and the rest of the movie, in that usually in folk tales and fairy tales, when the miracle resurrection happens, the person is fine immediately afterwards. Wesley can barely walk. And he is slowly regaining strength, but he is still just barely alive.
I love all the head movements when they're carrying him. It's like...
Yeah, the head just flopping all over the place.
Yeah.
Turn me around. I need to see what's happening.
Yeah. And then as they go in, and Inigo spots Count Rugen.
Yeah.
And draws his blade, and instead of the expected duel, Count Rugen runs off like a little bitch.
Well, no, he doesn't run away straight away, does he? He does draw his sword, and Inigo says what he says, and then he runs away like a little bitch. And Inigo goes, I mean, Montoya, you killed my father. Prepare to die.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Okay, before anyone asks, yes, I did marry him for his ability to do funny voices.
Yeah, he is good at it. And I just love it. Yeah, I just love that because he's there all ready to fight, and he just sort of drops his arm, turns around, and hikes it.
Yeah,
and the look on
it looks
his face is like, what?
Yeah, once again we have the trope set up, where the vengeance duel. And Count Rugen, even takes the stance like the duel's about to start, and they tips his sword down and runs like a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Inigo hands Wesley off to Fezzik and runs after him.
Yeah,
and then
splitting the party.
Yeah. And then, Fezzik, just kind of sets Wesley down to rest, and we cut away to the duel. Let's see.
Oh, the duel is amazing.
Yeah, like Luke Skywalker? And now I will send myself to the corner.
Yes. Corner.
Yeah. But, so... And of course, they are somewhat evenly matched when the duel commences, but that's also because well, no, it's also because Count Rugen, not only runs away like a little bitch, but pauses and with a knife ready, and as soon as Inigo rushes into the door, he throws a knife into his gut.
That'll do it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which isn't something you do see underhanded, dirty tricks, from villains of this type. What you don't see is them doing things like that intelligently.
Yeah.
Or, them doing things like that when they think they've had the upper hand, when they at the beginning of the fight. It's usually when they realize they don't have the upper hand, then they start trying to resort to dirty tricks.
Yeah. Whereas there was no choice at the beginning when he ran off whether he had the upper hand or not. He just didn't want to fight him.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's going to fight pretty good. I'm not going to risk my life. Which is kind of sensible for a villain.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Count Rugen is, despite his complete and utter cowardice, he is by far the most intelligent villain in this story.
Yeah.
Like, because Inigo and Fezzik aren't really villains.
No, they're
a little whiny brat. And Rugen is definitely the power behind the throne.
Yeah. Inigo and Fezig are mercenaries.
Oh yeah.
And
But I still love the whole sword fight when it happens.
Oh yeah.
Where, because of the wounds that Inigo sustained before, he does begin to lose, but then he regains it. He regains his wind, and or for
By
those
chanting his mantra.
Yeah, or for those who play D&D, he gets his second wind.
Yeah.
Which is a fighter ability, and begins chanting his mantra of "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You kill my father. Prepare to die." And begins.
It totally puts Rugen off as he keeps doing it. Will you stop saying that?
Yeah. And
he just keeps saying it louder and more forceful at him.
And of course, the thing is, this is the culmination of Inigo's story arc.
Yeah.
And also something of the culmination of his subversion of the stock character trope that he is, because he is the character with the overly elaborate tragic backstory.
He is almost like another hero to the story.
Well, yeah,
in his own way.
Yeah, he is very much a second protagonist.
And he definitely has a hero's journey through in it. He goes from being a mercenary villain, or in a way himself, although he's got this quest that he's put himself on, but the means he's gone to get to that has been through nefarious means, to the point of more or less becoming a hero.
Yeah, and I think the culmination of that with the thing with Rugen of offer me money. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Power to promise me that. All that I have and more, please. Yeah. Offer me everything I ask for. Anything you want. I want my father back, you son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. And then stabbing him through.
That.
And so.
Just to bring the mood down a little bit for a moment, anyone who's lost a parent knows exactly that mood.
Yeah.
Like, that is.
Also, yeah. I'm going to bring back a banner that hasn't been around since Star Wars Month.
What did you do? Oh, good job! It's not alcohol this week.
Yeah, since Inigo, since you did bring up that Inigo Montoya's,
hero's journey. Yeah, very much so.
It's a hero's journey.
So we don't exactly see his call. His call to adventure or refusal of the call, because it's kind of started in media res. But when he is, after Vizzini dies, when he is in the Thieves' Forest, it is definitely his belly of the whale moment.
Oh, definitely. And he does explain his beginning, because he talks about his father and how he got where he was. So we don't see it, but he tells the story. So we know his whole story. We just start it in the middle somewhere and then get told it by him narrating it. And that's perfectly fine, because I don't think we see any of the heroes' journeys from the beginning. Well, we get it as backstory, and we start in the middle of the story almost for all of them.
Well, I mean, we kind of see that, we don't really see, we kind of see that we see bits and pieces of everyone's hero's journey, and then the narration fills the rest.
Yes,
I think
exactly.
As well, what you have to understand with Campbell and the hero's journey is, unless you're actually looking at the Odyssey or Lord of the Rings, there's no character throughout literary history that ticks every step in order. They're not supposed to. It would be so generic and so.
Is that why Luke's the way he is?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know.
I think Manda just unsubbed.
I said it out loud before Jeff could type it.
But the thing is
that's why with a lot of these characters you can boil the hero's journey down to call, refusal of call, belly of the whale, and then you can skip most of it right up until you get to sort of the concluding stages.
Yeah.
Or you can mix them up and put them in different orders. That's what makes stories work when you don't follow that.
Well, and also the hero's journey, little hint for those who are writing, the hero's journey is not a formula. It is an analysis tool.
Yeah, it's descriptive, not prescriptive.
Yeah, prescriptive, yeah.
Yeah, it was his analysis of how these stories are written. He wasn't telling people how to write them.
Yeah.
So
and like we do get a bit of a subversion because it, in the promise me money, promise me power scene, because usually how the way that plays out is the villain, upon realizing that he is about to die, starts making promises.
He begs for his life.
And begs for his life, and the hero just refuses outright.
Or the hero does give him his life, and then the hero double crosses that, and the hero ends up having to kill them anyway. That's often played out that way.
Or the hero does give him his life, but the villain tries to double cross, but in that he screws up and makes his own end. But in this, Inigo plays along. He's like, yes, now promise me,
Yeah.
And then finally it's like,
this is what I want.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I want my father back, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, he plays it out the way you probably would imagine it of somebody who'd actually been trying to get revenge for such a long time. That Inigo would have been playing out this scene in his head for years.
Yeah.
What was going to say? What was going to be offered to him so he didn't kill this man? So he already knew where this story was going, so he just played it out and then got to the killing bit.
It's another example of it's an example of realism done well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where you set up a trope to subvert it, but in the way you subvert it, you make it feel more realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they played the trope and had the begging, the scene wouldn't have worked as well.
Yeah.
The fact that he said, he was basically saying, I know what you're going to do, and you can't stop me from killing you because this is my journey.
I thought about this 100 different ways, 1,000 different ways, and they all end the same way, with me killing you. There's nothing you can offer me. Because what he's essentially saying there is there's nothing you can offer me to save your life right now.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
That's the point. When, that's the essence of revenge.
Yeah.
And it's no longer about good and evil or what the causes were, what the background is, or anything like that. It's just, I want you dead but there's a great tragedy in it as well. Because Inigo has spent his life chasing this revenge, and no one has said to him, listen, it's not going to bring him back.
Yeah.
And he doesn't appear to have made his peace with that. And it's only afterwards when we see the breakdown that hits him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he learns the one truth that everyone who loses anyone has to learn. Nothing's going to bring him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can be angry for a long time, but it's when you learn that's when you realize, that's when you start to really not move on, but not get over it, but grow from it.
Yeah.
It's that growth moment.
And I think at that point, because you can see in his own personal growth, he's realizing that he's not just killing this man for his revenge. He's killing this man because he needs to for everyone else, because this man is so fucking dreadful to everyone.
And it is very much the fact that this man is... You have to ask the question of, if Inigo would just run across him in the street, would he have still killed him?
Yeah.
Or might he have been the bigger man in that moment?
Yeah, if Count Rugen hadn't been had just been somebody who killed his father in a duel or something like that, and it hadn't been anything overly important, his need for that revenge may not have been as strong as when he'd witnessed in his progression there what kind of man Count Rugen was.
Yeah.
So his need for that revenge was also padded by the fact that this man is dreadful to everyone and he needs to die.
Well, and the fact we did kind of see that you know, at the beginning, you know, because the reason Count Rugen killed Inigo's father is because he didn't want to pay for the sword.
Yeah. Yes.
But let's move on to the other dual subversion.
I love the other duel. I think the scene and the way it's played out is actually better than the actual duel.
Well,
as much as I love the actual duel, I just love the way the other duel plays out. It's so against the trope, and it is just so clever.
No, I'm talking about the duel between Wesley and Humperdinck.
Oh, so am I.
Yeah. where Wesley proposes that they will have a duel to the pain.
Yeah.
The pain, yes. What do you mean the pain?
First, I will take your eye. Then, I will take your other eye. Then your ears.
No, other way around.
Starts
with the feet.
No, yeah, he leaves. No, yeah, first I will take your feet. And then your hands. Then your
nose. Then your lips
tongue.
and your tongue. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next
and
thing
then my ears.
Your left.
Yeah, no, it's like, and then my ears. No, I will leave your ears intact so you can hear every horrified scream that your horrible, disfigured appearance brings
to every child.
So that every shriek of every child at seeing your hideousness will be yours to cherish. Every babe that weeps at your approach, every woman who cries out, "Dear God, what is that thing?" will echo in your perfect ears. That is what to the pain means.
Yeah. And that is what we call a natural 20, either bluff or intimidation.
Yeah, that's definitely an intimidation.
Yeah.
Roll intimidation, crit.
Yeah.
And he probably rolled that disadvantage given his state.
Yeah. But
it is a brilliant scene.
And of course, that's the, that entire scene is a subversion. So, we did get the swashbuckling duel between, Rugen and Inigo. And of course, usually the main hero and the main villain have their duel, but no.
But
Wesley,
Wesley fights the second villain
with his mind instead
of his mind sword. Yes, and Inigo fights the main villain.
But
he's a
fate worse than death trope.
Yeah,
a fate worse than death. Yeah, it is a brilliant way that it goes though. This whole story,
and it is very much it shows the difference between Inigo and Wesley. Wesley is a very intelligent fighter.
Yeah,
Wesley is not driven by personal emotion. He's cold. He's calculating.
Yeah.
To a point. Yes, he's trying to protect Buttercup, but he's calculating. He tells her, "You're not married." He tells her, he goes through this spiel, and it's calm. And there's this great contrast between that and Inigo yelling and screaming and repeating himself and, you know, gasping and panting in the middle of this thing, having that conversation. Yeah. And Wesley's just there like, yeah, to the pain. Kind of, you know, it's...
He's in control of his situation, and he knows he's in control.
Yeah, whereas Inigo has never been in control of his situation.
Yeah.
And that's a
up
very
until the
interesting,
end.
Yeah. And but when Inigo takes control, he goes the opposite way.
Yeah.
Like, Wesley has always been in control of his situation. From the moment the Dread Pirate Roberts picked him out on the ship, he's been in control of his situation. For the most part. And yet, he embodies that. Whereas Inigo, if Inigo is reactionary, Wesley is the exact opposite to that. He's cool, he's calm, he's collected.
Yeah.
He's the James Bond to Inigo's sort of taken character, you know.
Yeah.
That's what's going on there.
Yeah, he is. You know, he is the James Bond to Inigo's John Wick.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes, that was the character I was thinking of.
Yeah. And it's that emotional response to what's going on around him.
Yeah.
Inigo knows that no matter what happens, his father's not coming back. Wesley knows he's already won.
Yeah.
And when you know you've already won, you can't. There's no loss of confidence. Whereas Inigo never I don't think Inigo really expected to survive that sword fight.
Yeah.
No.
It would have been enough for him to go down swinging.
Yeah, because you know the only reason Inigo was working for Vicini is because there's no money in revenge, and he needed to pay the bills.
Exactly. Whereas Wesley was working for the Dread Pirate Roberts for every reason but love.
Oh.
He worked for the Dread Pirate Roberts and became the Dread Pirate Roberts because it was convenient.
Yeah.
They're different.
Got him where he wanted to go.
People. Yeah.
So, I mean...
He's a man with a plan.
Though I would say that Wesley still did it for love. You know, he did it so he could make his fortune and then retire and marry Buttercup.
Yeah.
So
it's just different. Do you know what it is? And I'm going to bring this back to Harry Potter because it's me. It's the difference between Severus Snape and Sirius Black.
Ah.
One who will go through and follow the plan through and appreciates the nuances of the plan, and he just goes on with it.
Yeah.
And one who is an explosive, emotional, I want revenge and I want it now.
Yeah.
And doesn't necessarily think things through. And they're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if those two had actually been friends? Voldemort would not have stood a chance.
Yeah.
But life.
Hello, my name is Sirius Black. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Also, just like I can see Snape cutting off someone's hands and feet and leaving them just to wonder. Like, he's vicious that way.
Yeah.
Whereas Sirius Black would just blow someone up.
Hello, my name is Sirius Black. You killed James Potter. Prepare to die.
Yes, I can hear that. Yes, that's pretty much what he did to Peter Pettigrew, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and of course, while we have our epic battles of swords and wits, the other member of the party just wandered off and found convenient horses. As you do.
As you do, yeah.
Someone's got to think these things through.
Yeah.
Well, he is the thinker, isn't he? He's the worldly thinker.
Well, this is the thing as well.
Fred.
He's just
He's just like he's practical and he's intelligent.
He's not even the high level thinker the way Wesley is. He's just the hang on. Let me apply a modicum of common sense to this scenario.
Yeah.
We got in. How do we get out?
Yeah.
You know.
I love his character for that. It's like he might be the ogre in the way he looks, but he's definitely not the ogre in character.
Yeah.
He's but he's the thinking man's ogre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, ogres are like onions.
No, they're like cakes. No,
Like
that's
cakes.
what it is. He's Shrek, but made of cake, not onion.
Ah.
Yeah. But so we come near.
Everybody likes parfait.
Yeah. We come to the conclusion, of the story with them riding off into the sunrise. And of course, in Wesley and Buttercup, I almost said Inigo. I don't know why. Wesley and Buttercup
Confusing your heroes.
share their perfect kiss. And Inigo realizes now that his quest for revenge, he doesn't have anything else to do. And then Wesley turns to him and says, Have you ever considered piracy?
Yeah.
And we close with, Peter Falk closing the book. And both meta narratives are complete where, the child in the meta narrative of the film appreciates the story.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who is watching the movie for the first time in the meta narrative appreciates the film.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at that point, Fred Savage's character goes to his grandfather, "Can we read it again?"
Yeah.
To which his grandfather replies,
As you wish.
"Wish."
Which is just beautiful and perfect and
Yeah. Which is
a gorgeous movie.
Which is the real point. I mean, all the trope setups and subversion and the clever satire is not the point of The Princess Bride. The point of The Princess Bride is how to appreciate stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how to pass these stories on to younger, to the generations that follow, and to teach them how to appreciate the stories that they are reading and that they are being told.
And of course, you've got the grandson's journey in that, because when his grandfather comes in and sees him originally, he's, I want to play my video game, I want to watch television, I want to do something else, and he goes, "I'll read you a story." It's a story. I want to play my game.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, it's like, "Read it again."
Yeah.
Please, can we read it again? Tell me again. And throughout the story, he's like, "But what happens next?"
Well,
maybe we should take a break now. But no, what?
Well, that's more, that's more into the, into the middle. In the beginning, during the As You Wish sequences, he's.
Have you heard of Plato,
Aristotle, Socrates? Morons.
Morons.
I love that line.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things about The Princess Bride is it is an immensely quotable movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, top 3 quotable movies of all time. It's definitely up there.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Along with The Godfather, possibly The Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
Those would be.
I think it's a better movie than both of those. But that's my own
personal.
personal.
Movie than The Godfather.
I'd say by sheer percentage of film that's quotable, I'd say it's probably in the top spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By percentage of film that's quotable, but on the... Because those are 3 very different films.
Yeah.
So to compare them at all is very sketchy. But those are like,
yeah,
those are the 3 films you'll quote most in your life, I think.
yeah. So, and we did, and there were like, so do we want to finish it off here, or do we want to do a brief comparison of The Princess Bride and Shrek? Because Shrek was brought up in both episodes. Or should we save that for like?
Why don't we do Shrek and do it as a comparison, as a different episode?
Yeah. So
I don't think there's such a thing as going into that briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's too. It's too big a thing, but I mean, it's only comparable because Shrek is such a rip-off of other fairy tale stories in a similar way to Princess Bride turns that trope on its head.
In my opinion, they're both fairy tale generic fantasy satires.
Yeah.
Princess Bride is a gentle satire. Shrek is a more violent satire.
Yeah, Princess Bride is nudge nudge wink wink. Shrek is
I think that has a lot to do with the audience though that they're intended for. Princess Bride is intended for teenagers and adults and not really young kids. Whereas I'd
show Princess Bride to someone as young as 6.
I would too, but I think the meta story of it is more intended for the adult audience.
Yeah, whereas that's with all children's things. Yeah. Like, Jeff and I find the same thing with the Asterix and Obelisk. There's jokes aimed for the kids and there's stuff for the adults in there as well. And you find that with all children's stuff. There's stuff for the kids and stuff for the adults.
Well, you have to, otherwise the adults wouldn't take the kids to see them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, this, like, I've said it, I've probably said it before in and I will definitely say it again. This is how you make, good family media, is you have, jokes and action and stuff to keep the kids entertained. And then you have stuff that the adults can dig into. And that is how you make a timeless classic. Because when a kid grows up with that sense of nostalgia and revisits it, they will find they enjoy it just as much as an adult as they did as a kid, and will not mind watching it over and over and over again with their own kids.
And it's definitely, I think, as well, there are some kid stuff that don't hold up, and they're the ones that don't become classics. If you kind of go back and watch something or engage with something that you engaged with as a child, and it holds up, like even, I mean, to an extent, there's a reason I don't go back and read the Potter books now, even though I've got 4 different versions on my shelves, because quite frankly, I don't want to ruin it for myself because I know it won't hold up.
Yeah. Because
I agree.
Well, yeah, because, the earlier Potter books are definitely just aimed at that specific age audience.
They're not even aimed at that specific age audience, because I was reading the Potter books when I was like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And they were about the level I was reading at then. Now, I was an advanced reader, granted.
Yeah.
But I was not, if I'd have had to wait until I was 12 or 13 for that series, I'd have never got into it.
Yeah. Well, I said,
although I read them as an adult, so but I read them I also read them for my kids as well, so I was reading them as an adult for them, so I knew what I knew what they were reading, and B, they wanted them read to them, so
also
and that made me want to read the other ones at the time.
Yeah. Also, there is also the problem that most modern mass-produced kids media is it's more
mass-produced.
Well, yeah. Well, It's more that they tie into the zeitgeist of the time, but in the wrong way. Because there are ways that you tie into the zeitgeist of the time that still make your media a classic. For instance, Creedence Clearwater Revival, pretty much any of their songs is tied into the zeitgeist surrounding the 60s and the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
But you can still listen to it and appreciate it today.
Because it's technically brilliant.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at things like, I mean, even stuff that feeds into the zeitgeist, because arguably, and I will say this even from an academic point of view, Harry Potter is the zeitgeist of the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Without a doubt. Like, no one remember. Do you remember what films were nominated for the 2001 Oscars?
Nope.
Do you remember that Harry Potter came out that year?
No.
The first film?
No.
But you know about the first Harry Potter film, you probably couldn't name
do.
those off the top of your head. You know, it's that. These things permeated the culture so much. People my age, I know I Hogwarts House, I don't know my blood type.
Yeah.
You know.
Or but like you'll get the animated kids movies that are just a bunch of pop culture references that'll die in a couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
and,
while we're talking...
you know what? You know what, Scummer? I bet you also hate the fucking Eagles.
While we're talking about stuff and in the era and the importance of them and how well Princess Bride stands up as a movie, as a cult classic.
Yeah.
What do you think about them remaking it?
There is a shortage of. You know what? I say Carrie Elways said it best. There are a shortage of perfect movies out there. It would be a shame to ruin this one.
I agree. That's exactly how I feel about it. If Hollywood went and remade it, it would be big budget. It would be huge special effects and fancy crap everywhere. And the movie's not about that. It's about the imagination of a kid, and it's about the telling of the story. And that's all going to be lost in a modern Hollywood, a modern retelling.
Or another good example.
Listen, they can't remake it because they haven't got Peter Falk to read the damn book.
Yeah. Or, another example is, you have the Charlton Heston, classic Ben-Hur, where...
Ooh.
You know what they do if they recast it? They probably cast Julian Clary and have him read and say, "Oh, it was meant to be camp."
No, but
no,
that is what they do.
But then in in 2016 they did a reboot. They did an updated. They made Ben-Hur again, and instead of focusing on the story and just, making better special effects, which probably would have worked very well, they made it a generic revenge flick.
Yeah, see, Hollywood has no idea. Yeah. New stories. They don't have to be perfectly new. I mean, there's very little that's perfectly new in a story, but come up with new ideas. Don't retell old ones.
Or
retell old ones, but in new ways.
Yeah, that's the other way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how many adaptations are there of classical stories?
Yeah.
How many Hercules movies have there been? How many, War of Troy movies have there been? How many frigging Bible movies have there been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell old stories in new ways and make them interesting, but not by just throwing money and CGI at it.
Yeah,
that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Though I do like the trend in lifting story ideas from comic books. that has been going on, and I'm not just talking about the the superhero movies that are coming out. Like, for instance, the Kingsman movies. Those are based off a series of graphic novels.
Yeah, but there is a line, because there's also, like, for example, an American book got released that ripped off a Japanese manga.
Yeah.
And
you're talking about the American adaptation of Ghost in the Shell where they whitewashed the main character.
It's been done a few times, so pick your poison.
Yeah.
And that, again, telling stories in new ways doesn't mean erasing the past.
Yeah.
Which is why it's very... remakes of films that do fan service, for me, even though it's cliched, I always have more respect for, just because at least they're not trying to pretend the original doesn't exist.
Yeah, and I will say that there is one kind of quote unquote remake that I really enjoyed, but it's not really a remake, it's sort of a reboot prequel trilogy. And I'm referring to the Planet of the Apes.
See, whereas I think the original Planet of the Apes, despite the low budget nonsense and the hamming it up and the really terrible costumes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the original Charlton Heston Planet of the Apes is, classic despite all of its faults.
Yeah. Whereas I think the modern Planet of the Apes, for me, is not a touch on it. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not a touch on the original.
Well, and like I said, it doesn't really quite count as a remake because it's more of like a prequel.
Yeah. But that's one where I think too much guns and CGI. Someone had a bit too much fun with the CGI. If they'd have dialed that back a bit and made it a little bit less...
I don't know. The mocap in that was really, really good.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was badly done. What I'm saying is, for that franchise, coming off the back of being a Charlton Heston movie, it was too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and to answer Jeff's question, I actually quite enjoyed the new Battlestar Galactica, but I still think the original was better.
But also, there was the there was that failed Tim Burton reboot in the 90s.
We don't talk about that.
All I know about it is that it exists. And actually, I read the novel that the Charlton Heston was, based off before I actually saw, like, years before I saw Charlton Heston in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
But that is actually probably going to be mentioned next episode when we are talking about satire as a whole concept.
Yeah.
Because So let's go ahead and go around in for shilling, because I think we've just about said everything we can say about Princess Bride.
I do too. Aside from the end off with saying it's a brilliant movie, anyone hasn't watched it, go watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, nowadays you can get the DVD for like £4 on eBay. You've got no excuse.
Heck,
I want them to remaster it as Blu-ray.
Heck,
isn't it on that?
It's probably on just about every streaming service.
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. So.
Yeah, but it's one of those films. You know how there's certain films you've got to have your own DVD of because it's just that good?
Yeah.
And you've got to buy the latest version of it because it's just that good? Like,
I haven't done that, but I do own it on DVD.
Like, if I had it on VHS, I would have had to buy it on DVD, then have to buy it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Kind of that.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
The Blu-ray would probably be good for all the extras.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Blu-ray, because the original DVD I've got is a little bit washed out, a bit like I am on screen right now because I've got a garbage camera.
Yeah.
But,
I want a double release now that has the Princess Bride and the Deathpool Christmas special as a box set. Oh, that would be awesome.
I think there may be rights issues about that.
There may be. Yeah, I mean, like the Blu-ray, I'm looking at it now.
Are there now? Is Princess Bride part of Disney now? That because wasn't it a Fox film?
Hold on, I'm checking. Let's see. So let's see. Okay. Trying to. So the production. Okay, so it was distributed by 20th Century Fox. So there actually might not be
any issues.
There might not be rights issues.
So that makes Buttercup a Disney princess.
Like she wasn't already? Yeah.
But
yeah,
we will probably mention Planet of the Apes next week when we're talking satire, but I'm probably, Planet of the Apes is definitely gonna have to be its own episode sometime.
Now I need to know if Badger likes the Princess Bride.
Hang on. Wait. This is a Disney movie.
No,
the Marvel Cinematic Universe is owned by Disney. Does that make the Dread Pirate Roberts a superhero?
Does that also make Buttercup a Disney princess?
That's what I just said. Buttercup is a Disney princess.
But what does that make Fezzik? The fairy godmother.
I got these horses.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah,
you know what's going to happen
out of nowhere.
Disney are going to make an animated version.
Animated, I can probably live with.
I could deal with that actually, because they've got this whole thing of making live action versions of their animations. Why don't they make an animated version of this live action that's in their library?
I will say I could live with an animated version, but only if they do it in like traditional Disney style.
Not in like this modern uber realistic.
Yeah, if they don't do it in the Pixar, in the Pixar style, because the modern style was very much pioneered by Pixar.
Bring back all the original actors to voice the characters. And I mean, anyone who's dead, they can just use the audio from the original film.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they can rip it off at decent enough quality.
Yeah, that way they could. They can still have.
It looks like I already have a guest for Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing next week?
Next week we are talking satire because this has been Satire Month as part of the
month. And what about the week after, going into September?
September is Lit Month.
Yep.
So, hold on, because depending on how the poll, which is still open for at least another day, goes, and the link is in the description if you haven't voted.
Yeah,
we're either going to be doing Huckleberry Finn or Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah, awesome. I'm not going to be present for either of those. Sorry.
But
you don't like either of them.
Not particular.
Julie LaVoice of Wine and Reason will be this. I don't know if she'll be there for the entire Lit Month, but that she'll be involved. But
Yeah.
so
Jen, I had to do an entire university module on 18th century and 17th century satire about Swift and Gulliver's Travels and no.
Well, we should. If you're going to do Literary Month, why don't you do Lion Witch in the Wardrobe?
Well, so Hissy, I know you may be getting sick of Swift, but I do have a modest proposal for you. I'm just going to let that hang for a minute.
I am not going to dignify that with a response.
So, anyways, so
have a Turkish delight.
Yeah, so we'll either be so let month week 1 will either be Gulliver's Travels or Huckleberry Finn. Week 2 will probably be the author profile on Ray Bradbury.
Oh yeah.
Week 3, because it will be banned book week, will be the talk of will be the banned book week special. We're just going to talk banned books.
Okay.
And then we're going to finish it off with Dr. Faustus by Marlowe.
That one I'll be there for.
Yeah.
You're not going to talk about banned books?
Well, I'll talk about banned books, but I'll probably start talking about Edward II to lead into Faustus the following week.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Amongst other things.
Yeah.
Because Edward II's been banned in a few places because of the opening soliloquy is quite interesting.
And of course in October,
I know.
in October we will only be having 2 Media Musings episodes, because in October we're gonna me and Hissy will be starting up the Storykeeper stream again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And
good luck not getting banned again.
Yeah. And one of the Media Musings episodes is already slotted for the War of the Worlds.
So you can do Planet of the Apes for the other one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know what? When we do War of the Worlds, I think I'll redo our intro.
Oh, nice. Okay. I'm gonna put a pin in that for after we're finished, because I do have an idea for that.
Oh, cool, awesome.
Okay, so Hissy, anything to show?
Yeah, check out Asterix and Obelix with Godless Scummer. I do it every week. We alternate channels. This week was my channel. We did Asterix in Switzerland. Next week we're doing Mansions of the Gods over on Scummer's channel. 1 o'clock UK time on a Sunday. Yeah, it is. So I'm told. I will find out. That's pretty much the only thing I do that doesn't involve rings. So I will pass on to you.
And I already, shilled all the Media Musing stuff. On Saturday, as always, we have secular D&D. I almost said Dungeons and Divinity, which is edited videos I do. If I do have the energy or time to make an edited video, I am sitting on one for Esther.
Ooh.
Cool.
Jen, anything to show?
I should have a video out tomorrow. It'll be one of those naked discussion ones. I will have another That's News to Me panel show during the week as well. And then I'm going to start booking in people to do the pre-recorded versions of the show as well, which will be cut down and a bit more fun. And they'll actually be organized in teams instead of at the moment where I'm not running them in teams. But I like having the mix of both the live and the pre-record, because the live's a bit of fun that the audience can interact, but the pre-record will be a bit more streamlined. Aside from that, I do have a video that I'm supposed to. That I've been trying to get edited for about 3 weeks, and I just haven't had time. Then hopefully I'll get that out sometime this week as well. But we'll see how that goes. I don't have a lot of time at the moment.
And also, in case you didn't know, I do have a Teespring. Both the link to it and the link to the Twitter poll are in the description below.
Buy his merch. I need him in England.
And it's mostly in jokes about media musings and secular D&D. But with that, we'll go into taglines.
Take care, be good, and as always, if you can't be good, be careful.
And remember, don't choke on the indoctrination.
Bye.